pull some stats.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is your favorite host to your favorite show with your favorite co-host. This is BOXN1. I'm
You're
Ralph Wright, and I'm here with Elise Clyburn.
What's
How
up,
are we
Ralph?
doing? What's good? What is good? What
I'm
is
good.
good?
I'm good.
Yes. I know we talked about the start of the season. There's a lot of things that we're
Mhm.
excited about. Let's get right to it. I know we both are super, we're both Jalen Green. Like we're in that Jalen Green corner.
Hive.
We're definitely part of that hive, but his introduction to the league outside of preseason wasn't so pretty, right? So
Mm-mm.
let's talk about that Houston and things that we observed from the Houston Rockets Minnesota series. Like honestly, it's just game one. It's never really foretelling, game one, except for certain habits and things that we feel like that can be fixed along the way. We talked about Minnesota and how, we know Minnesota has talent. If
They
the
look good.
management could leave them alone, this is a team that we spoke about that could be fighting for the playoffs.
Mhm.
Cat was dominant in the paint, like you talked about that. You was like, hey, if he just did a little bit more of this, and I seen him backing guys down and dunking on people. So,
It's like
you
he
know,
listened or something.
yeah, it's like he knew what it was time for him to do. So he's starting to prove that he can take that mantle as the number one big in the league. So let's more so focus on that Houston Rockets. Like tell me what you saw from there, and then because I know we talked off camera, but our main issue was starting off with the utilization of Jalen.
Yeah. So the number one thing, so I'm pulling up the stats real quick. I'm not going to read them, but I just like to have them.
Mhm.
What I saw mostly was selfishness, which is which is going to happen when you have a younger team and your offense is going to be geared towards younger guys. But the selfishness I saw wasn't really from the younger guys; it was from the
Mhm.
vets on the team. Like it was pretty bad. What did you see?
Pretty much the same thing. I kind of feel like Jalen needs to be pushed to the point.
Okay.
Because we talked about this too. He was pushed off in the corner
Hmm.
versus he should be either forward, like straight forward, or he should be on the wing in the offense. I couldn't tell what type of offense he was running. I was looking to see if they were going to do a lot of pick and roll or pick and pop with him and Chris Wood, utilizing Wood's athleticism and Jalen Green's passing ability. But we didn't see that, and I saw a lot of holding the ball for Porter Jr. And this is a kid that we know
Yeah.
can pass. So, you know, it's just trying to
Yeah.
figure that out.
I saw that as well. I thought Porter Jr., he was trying to be, the Houston's next Harden
Mhm.
without the Harden handles, which, whatever. But honestly, another thing I saw, and this goes to coaching or maybe, with the young team, a new team, the pace. They weren't playing extremely fast. And with how athletic they were, it's like, yo, we could have got up more shots. Like, I'm gonna go down and try to see how many shots they actually attempted. They only attempted 88 shots.
This is one of those games that I watched twice.
Hmm.
And yes, they attempted 88 shots, but Minnesota's defense was that good. They looked
Yeah, but
good. Their
you
defense
have a
is
team
long
that
and
you can.
athletic.
That's true.
Like I'm gonna be honest, like they made so from what I seen, majority of the game, D'Angelo Russell was guarding Jalen Green. You already know you have the athletic advantage right there.
Hmm.
Why wouldn't you try to figure something out to create certain types of advantages? Jalen Green had this one pass, or maybe it was Porter Jr. I don't remember, but they had this nice pass to Daniel Theis,
Hmm.
and he didn't dunk it. He pump faked, and then by the time he went up again, he had three wolves around him, surrounding him, getting ready to block him. So, like I say that because one, that's not going to show up on his stats, right? And then two, as far as his passing ability, and I'm high on Jalen Green's passing ability. I think that's what's going to set the rest of his game apart is the fact that he
Yeah.
can pass. It's just implementing that in because I think Jalen Green is going to be a 27-5 guy eventually, whether that's this
Oh,
season or the next upcoming
I
seasons.
wouldn't be surprised if it's this season.
So
Um,
with his skill set. So, but it
I
says a
was
lot
I was
for
surprised.
Minnesota's defense.
I was surprised, like what you said, there was no real screens, right? Like, where are the drive screens in transition? If Jalen Green's running the point, even Kevin Porter Jr. where the drag screens to where the ball handler can just come right off that trailing big and right to the hoop. Especially with Jalen Green, since with his passing and playmaking ability, like, yo, let's go ahead and do some drags. Let's go ahead and make their athletic post dive. And now we can either have the alley-oop or we have contact to the paint.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I wish I would have seen was a little bit more floppies. Floppies is a stagger, like a double stagger, where the shooter can either cut off or use it and, and cut in. That kid, Jalen, I think I tweeted it. I said, yo, KPJ and Jaylen Green, these are some athletic long guards. Like Jaylen Green, his stature might not be big, but man, that man can cover some ground. He just puts his arms out and it's like, yo, and the way he stretches out for the layups or for the finish at the rim, he is a long player.
He plays fairly good defense, and I'm glad you brought up Porter Jr. So Porter Jr. had 9 turnovers that game. So a lot of times people look at stats and they're like, oh, well, it's only 9 turnovers. Or I look at, as a coach and as a former player, as a point guard, I look at how those turnovers came, right? If your turnovers came because you were attempting a pass a la Russell Westbrook, then guess what? That could be adjusted because a lot of times that's just a chemistry thing. I didn't know to expect that. Now you move with that expectation of receiving the ball and being able to finish. Whereas a lot of Porter Jr.'s turnovers came with him going to the hole and getting in trouble. So that needs to improve. If he can't fix that, then he needs to be a 3 dribble pass point guard. Like he does, it's either direct line or direct kick. He can't dance with the ball. Like he's not Kyrie. Like just keep it simple right now. And I know you're young, keep it simple now. Bring in your guy, like help develop or bring in that chemistry with Jalen Green so that way you can now be that next great backcourt. Right? You look at Steph and you look at Clay, like the one thing that I feel like they had the advantage of when you think about it is they had a point guard, a former NBA point guard as their coach. And the one thing he did was he simplified Steph's game. Basically, here, yes, you can dance. You can dance, but here, make the simple pass. You look at Steph now, correct. Steph will dance on you and then make a simple pass.
A simple kick out, simple, nothing too fancy. He's not doing wraparounds. He's not doing the crazy bounce passes between 2 defenders. Now, with that being said, you said Porter Jr. had 9 turnovers. Guess how many turnovers Jalen Green had?
0.
0.
Yep, and 4
That's
assists.
a good sign. Yep. That's a good sign with 4 assists. The only issue I see with Jalen Green in that game, 0 free throw attempts. But that's not mostly on him. When is he getting the pass to him? Is he getting it on the cut? Is he really being able to push it on in transition? Granted, Minnesota played a hell of a game, right? Yeah. And defensively, they knew exactly what they wanted to run and how they wanted to clog in that paint. But maybe, coaching staff can make some adjustments so Jalen Green can attack more. He took 14 shots. He's not afraid to shoot it. So that's good to see. I mean, I think
he's not going to shoot that bad. I think he shot like 28% or something like that.
He shot 20%. So his plus and minuses, which I don't really like to look at because
I don't look at that. I just look at how you're progressing throughout the game. And because Jalen, my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off, but because Jalen isn't super aggressive offensively, he lets his shots come to him. That which efficiency, which at that age, now if he could just share that with Kevin Porter Jr. as far as relaxing, knowing when to shoot, picking your spot. What I would like to see from Jalen is him shooting that mid-range shot if he's not going to get to the free throw line. Focusing more on that mid-range area because I think that'll open up the lane for him. There's not much that I see them doing offensively that Silas is going to input where it's going to allow him to actually, go to the basket in the way that we would like his athleticism to be used.
I'm glad you said that because during the draft, when they were trying to make player comparisons for him, the one name that came up was Levine. Levine, first couple years, if not still now, what position did he play for Chicago?
He was a point
guard.
He was a point his whole career.
His whole career, right? Up until this year. But which means he had the ball in his hands. He was either getting to now his game has spaced out so much better. But what was he doing? To the paint, to the free throw line, and to the free throw line because you're going to the paint so much, but that mid range. So I'm glad you said that. Now
being
the
a
player that
three-level scorer.
3-level scorer, and the player that his G League, Jalen Green's G League coach said that he can be like because he has that mentality. Now this could be a G League coach who had the young rookies, who had the guys who went college, so he could be hyping his players up. But this is a former NBA player, and
Brian
NBA
Shaw,
players.
one of the best developmental coaches in the league.
And with that being said, Brian Shaw said the player that he told him to model his game after was Kobe Bean Bryant. So that when he said that, I'm like, hold on now. And he said, I don't take this lightly, not one bit whatsoever. I don't think players should ever be compared to some of the greatest players of all time, because it's not fair to that player. He said Kobe Bean Bryant. And I was thinking about why? Well, what was Kobe when he first got into the league? A long, athletic guard who was getting to the paint and hitting mid-range. So I'm glad that you said that.
I mean, he has the makeup. I was asked earlier, like before the draft, who he reminded me of. I said, honestly, nobody. There's a reason why he's a unicorn.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason why he's a unicorn. Like he's 6'6", 6'7". He's only going to grow. Like his body is going to get stronger, whether it's wiry strong or whether it's physical, girth. Like at the end of the day, you see how Kevin Durant was unstoppable. He scores at that kind
his height, at his size.
He scores at that kind of ease. Like baskets are easy for him. If he can become a dominant defender, which he has the tools to, then the league is really in trouble because he doesn't force offense. So he's not really putting that much energy on the offensive end. So imagine a two-way player that you can't stop defensive. I mean, you can't stop when he's on offense, but he's gonna lock you up when you're on defense. So that, dude, that's what I would like to see from him. And those 4 assists, they were great passes.
Yeah. He could have more.
Yeah.
They
but the ball wasn't in his hand like that. And occasionally too, you have to understand he did bring the ball up once or twice, but I would prefer to have him, that full-time point guard, move Kevin Porter over to the 2 so he can more so focus on his shot, which is what he did as a point. So we know Jalen Green can get a shot whenever. So
yeah. I'll say this, right? Like I think he could have had 3 more assists, but Minnesota did such a good job of contesting jump shots. So I thought they did a good job with that. But Jalen Green's only 19. Men, you guys don't get your body to like 26, 27, 28. We still got 9 years until he's in his man body.
It really depends, because you got to remember, Steph didn't get his until two years ago. 2 years ago. He had to get hurt again. He had to get hurt again just to start putting on that weight. And we still haven't seen KD put weight on. So
hey, I'm just saying. I know we're gonna wrap up here. I know we're gonna wrap it here shortly.
Yes.
But even though Houston lost, I'm pretty sure you're gonna say same. I like what I saw with Jaylen.
Yeah.
I hope Kevin Porter Jr. can settle in. I hope some of those vets on that team can like relax. After watching that first game, Houston's gonna have to make a decision. Are they gonna go? They're gonna tank. I think all aspects are pointing to they're gonna tank. Mm-hmm. Are you gonna tank? Are you gonna tank with young guys and more picks, or are you gonna tank with some of these vets?
Question is, I don't see any of their vets getting traded till probably closer to the end of the season. I mean, closer to trade deadline, because these vets are gonna, the way the top teams are set up. The way the top teams are set up, one of these vets, like Eric Gordon on the right team,
will be valuable.
Like that microwave. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers end up making a play for him later on, especially try to shore up that combo guard spot off the bench, especially next to Rondo. Get a solid shooter that can go to the basket. So
don't be shocked if Brooklyn tries to make a play, especially with Kyrie up in the air.
Brooklyn's not gonna make a play for him. They don't have, like, who do you get rid of?
I don't know, dog. I don't know. I'm not there yet.
Although it'd be interesting, since James Harden, Blake Griffin, and Eric Gordon were all in the same high school class with Kevin Love. So let's wrap it up. Listen, thank you for your time today. You know what to do. Subscribe, like, share, do all of that. Leave a comment. let us know. By you liking, or by you liking, it just lets the algorithm knows that other people need to hear this and see this just as much as you did. So it's greatly appreciated. Your time is greatly appreciated. So I don't want to go too long without saying that. So we appreciate you being here with us with BOXN1. Once again, I'm Ralph Wright with Elise Clyburn. If you want to get with us, our information is down below in the details where you can link up with us on Twitter and leave a comment. Let us know. Until next time. You got any words before I tell them?
Ciao.
Until next time, y'all be great. Continue to walk in your greatness.